Christmas, I got a Lego Technic model of a sports racer. I think it looks pretty cool and would make a good Pinewood Derby car. Now that we've chosen the sports racer design, let's see if we can find some images online to help with our plans. Let's see. Oh, that one looks cool, but it does look... Oh, that's a cool one. What is that? Pagani Fonda R. Let's see. Oh, it's a Zonda. Okay. They're all great pictures, but they're taken from an angle, so it would be hard to transfer them onto a block of wood. It would be great if we had a 3D model to see all the sides. I like to use SketchUp. First, I'm going to search this in the SketchUp 3D warehouse. That one looks cool. Let's download it. It's hard to see the edges here, so I'm going to change it into monochromatic. Now you can move it around. Now that we can see all the sides, we need to see how the model will fit on the Pinewood Derby block. For this, we will use a PowerPoint template of the official Derby block that we found online. Now I can trace these drawings to make templates. Now that we have configured the template, we're going to print it. Now that we have cut out our template, you will notice that we have more template pieces than we do blocks of wood. So we're going to have to use these extra pieces of wood to cut out the cockpit and side panels. You'll notice that this is a very long straight cut, so we're going to use the table saw to rip it down to the straight cut before we tape it. I measured the template to be 13/16 of an inch, so that's what we've set our table saw fence to. that we have traced the template onto the block of wood, we need to drill holes for the wheels. For this, we will use a Forstner bit. We will use one that is slightly larger than the wheels. We have loaded our bit into the drill press and we have our stop block in the right place. Let's check it again. That's just about perfect. Now let's check if the wheel fits. Good, it looks like we have enough clearance, and if we need to, we can sand it out later. Now let's do the other three. Now that we're finished drilling our holes, I'm going to let my dad use the bandsaw because my mom won't let me. My dad has finished cutting out the pieces on the bandsaw, but they're very rough, so I have a lot of sanding to do. That about does it for the curve on the side panel. Now we have to do the indentation on the door. For that, I'm going to use an X-Acto blade and a chisel. That's enough with this chisel. Now I'm going to use a trick that I learned at the Rain Gutter Regatta, and that is to use an emery board to sand in detail work, like this. Okay, I have pretty much all of the pieces cut, shaped, and sanded. Now it's time to start gluing them all together. Okay, now we will have to leave this to dry. In the meantime, I can work on prepping my axles. While our glue is drying, let's see what our axles look like. Near the head of the axle, you can see small lines called burrs. These will slow down and even damage the inside of our wheels. We will remove these using a file. Now that we have removed the burrs, I'm going to polish the axles using high grit sandpaper ranging from 600 to 2000 grit. The goal is to reduce friction between the wheels and the axles. I've just used the template to trace the curve of the hood onto the side panel. I can then use the disc sander to form the curve on the front of the car. As you can see, the edges on the car are rough and you can see holes through them. I'm going to use these pictures of my car and some wood putty to build up the edges so it looks like one solid piece of wood, and a smooth one at that. Yep. That's about as much sanding as I can do on the raw block of wood. But before I paint it, I'm going to coat it in a layer of sanding sealer to conceal the grain. Here you can see an example of where I did coat it with sanding sealer and where I didn't. This looks like a painted piece of metal and this looks like a piece of wood painted gold. You can see the grain in this one. Now that we've sanded our sealer, it's time to paint. First we'll do a prime coat. Now that our gold layer is dried, I'm going to add pinstripes to the side of our car using masking tape. Now that I've finished painting, it is time for the final touches. I need to reveal the pinstripes, glue on the cockpit and spoiler, add the stickers, and finally put on the wheels. After almost 100 hours,